reality of living in London. I think I saw the group of guys that opened all these parcels. Honestly, I'm just shocked. I don't know why, but it's things like this that just make me just not want to do anything.
How would you define status?
Yeah, so status has a very bad reputation for various sort of evolutionary reasons. I think the useful way to see it is that status is our reward for being of value to the human family. So when we prove ourselves as being a valuable person, people see us as better, that we raise in status in their eyes.
Friday, March 28th, day 5. I've come jogging. I woke up really sad, very low, very confused, really questioning what am I doing. My 5-year mortgage on our shared ownership runs out September. It's August. Why do I keep saying September? August 2026. I don't have a contract. I'm freelance.
Everybody look at me, look at me, look at me.
It's hard to get a mortgage if you are a freelancer. I think there is maybe by then I'll have worked enough months as a freelancer to be able to prove that I can pay a mortgage, right? If we want to keep living there. So I'm kind of having lots of doubts, and I'm just like, what the hell am I doing? The truth is, apart from social media, the skills that I have, they're not the kind of skills really that they are skills that are not in demand, right? Playing guitar, playing bass, drawing, being arty. I will say that my video editing is quite good. So yes, that is in demand. Video editing is in demand.
So we play status games with the people around us. So we worry most about our reputation in the eyes of people that are sort of close to us in our lives and are kind of relatively near in status to us.
I want you to take a few minutes to reflect and think about what status games you're playing. Because if you're anything like me and you are playing a status game that revolves around having the latest fashion or the latest bag or sneakers, it's not really, it's not going to help you out. It's going to financially ruin you. But yeah, it's very important to kind of be self-aware and know what status games you're playing, because sometimes you're really not playing the right game. Okay, so I've got lots of things to sell. One of the things I want to do is start to sew some kids' trousers and make some really cool kids' trousers for kids, the cool kids. And so I'm going to sell a lot of my old clothes just to make some money to buy a sewing machine. I think I need an overlocker and a sewing machine, but hopefully I'll find something on eBay.
And I think when people think of status, especially in this capitalist world we live in, they think of the Kardashians and,
yes,
or Logan Paul, or, people who are show-offs and, gaudy and loud. And that really isn't what status is about. Status is literally being of value, feeling like I'm valuable to other people.
Hello, friend. Lulu, please eat your pasta, I beg you. Please, I'm begging you. Eat your pasta.
How do high and low status people relate to each other then?
Well, the game is always kind of jostling. One of the interesting things that I read quite a lot about in my research is this idea of the copying instinct. Humans just are amazing at copying people, and we tend to copy
the high status people who are in our game. So they're the people that we look up to and go, I want to be like you. And we'll tend to kind of blindly copy them.
But yeah, it's a big gamble for me personally, having a family with 2 kids. But the whole point of this is to empower other 30 plus year olds, because if you're younger, like, I also want you to, it's not that I don't want you to win, it's that the opportunities that you have is that, well, some people have children very young, but you've got that freedom. It's about you now putting a plan in place. If you want to be a musician or anything like that, I would suggest that you get a real job, that you find something that's very stable, and you have the music, your band, as a side hustle. Why? When I was in the band, it was my everything. We were, I left uni for it. I was doing it for nearly 20, I need to double check, I think it's over 20 years, right? And when it didn't happen, because the truth is that sometimes things don't happen, whether it's like the universe or God or someone that doesn't want it to happen, or you're just not good enough and you're not self-aware to understand that actually your music is not good enough, or you're just not in the right place at the right time. It might be all about rap music, right, or grime, or like God knows, and you're out there with a guitar and it's not what the market wants. So you have to be very self-aware. And the problem with not having a plan, the problem with it being your plan A and not being your plan B, is that you get very low when people don't come to your gigs, or you miss certain opportunities. You put a single out and it doesn't do as well as you hoped. You're not getting signed, you're not getting a publishing deal. You're going years busking, no one cares. You're going years like doing gigging and touring and doing open mic nights, no one cares. Like, at the start, yes, you can do a good 3 years and still have that hope and be like, no, but I know that one day it's going to happen. But after 3 years, in my personal experience, you start to get a bit sad, a bit worried. And the worst thing is you start to get desperate. And that desperation kills you. And then towards the end, if you haven't reached your goal, whether it's like winning a Grammy or like being a multi-million selling artist, or I don't know, whatever your goal in music is, right? If you haven't reached it by the 10th year, you are going to be bitter as hell. I was so bitter. And the thing about when we started our journey, everyone was in a band. Absolutely everyone. Like, we came off of that whole Libertines, Kings of Leon, like all the music, indie music had come in after that. And so everyone was in a band. And especially in London, you would play to a crowd and nobody actually cared, because half the crowd were just waiting for it to be their turn to get up on stage. There was no camaraderie, there was no kind of the movement, actually. Even though we were all in bands, it was quite individualistic. So each band was like, their entity, and they didn't it was really weird. It was like, yeah, people were not welcoming at all. It was, yeah, anyway, that's the difference. But I was bitter, and I was like seeing so many people that we were, because obviously we done like the Brighton Great Escape, and so we went on tour around Europe with Darwin Dees. That was like our biggest thing, right, that we'd done. But I started to become very bitter because I'd start seeing lots of people that we were going on tour with or whatnot actually getting signed, getting, what's it called, when you support, they were getting support slots for really big artists, and it just wasn't happening for us. In hindsight, I kind of see why it wasn't happening for us. Firstly, we weren't open to collaboration. At the start of our journey, you know, of those 20 years, and it was 2 bands, by the way. The first band we then split up into and joined another band, the 3 of us. But yeah, we weren't open to collaboration and co-writing and producing with other people that weren't in the band.